nice and tidy, edited down video, but I have ways for you to make it faster. You can click that little gear on the YouTube settings right there on the video and adjust the playback speed, make me sound like a chipmunk, and it'll go a lot faster. You can also look and see if there's timestamps for this project in the description, and if you're on a desktop, you can hover over the time bar at the bottom of the screen and see if it's chunked up into chapters, and then that way you can go directly to the step you're looking for. And lastly, you can also tap on the screen on the right hand side of the video picture or on the left hand side to make the video jump ahead, forward or backward if you're on a mobile device. And you can adjust that amount in your settings so you can have complete control over how much it jumps. So if you are on a desktop, you can use the fast forward or the rewind, and that will make it go faster as well. You can also enable subtitles, and the little CC on the screen will enable closed captioning. That way, if I am a little bit harder to understand with that double playback speed, the subtitles might help you out. All right, well, I know that it's not a nice little edited video, but if you sew with me, we'll get there together and it'll be lots of fun. And now for the live stream. Happy sewing! Happy Saturday, Sydney. Hello. Hey, Shem. How's it going? I just ate a little snack because I was already getting hungry. It's never a good sign. Hey, Monta. How's it going? Hey, Danny. Hey, Kathleen. It's going to be 90 degrees here today. Also, I feel like my ears keep getting plugged, so I feel like I'm shouting. I'm sorry. It's a constant issue for me. Dang, we had such a seam rippy Thursday. I feel like I ripped every single thing I sewed. I'm glad I did, but I really made this look like a struggle. I want to make these again now without doing that. But they're going to be finished today, and I think like if you're not doing silly things like I was, these are actually pretty straightforward sew, you know? So, oh, Curtis, that's right. Thank you. How's it going, Curtis? 96 in Palm Springs. You're tracking? When do you go to Palm Springs? I love that you're tracking the weather there. By the way, it's very Palm Springs-like where I live, just hint, hint. Very Mediterranean climate here and probably a lot cheaper. Hey, Julie. I know, right, Julie? It's crazy. You flew to Palm Springs for some fun, so I'm missing the nice one. Oh, that's right. You're there now. You're there now. Who cares about Washington's weather? That's a gamble. That's literally a dice roll. Mid-60s and gray in San Diego. No, I was just teasing. It's gorgeous here. Okay, so a small update on the deer situation. It is a new deer. It is not George. Yeah, and you came to see you could see family in Reading. Absolutely. It's like an hour and a half away. Reading is for me, that would be like the weather there, like the heat in the summer there is tough. Because it's very still there. It's kind of like Chico. Chico's very still. So when I lived on the coast, I never wanted wind. Wind was very, it was not great. Wind on the coast is cold, wet. It's kind of miserable, right? Wind here is really nice unless it's, fire season. The wind here, it's higher up, so the trees move, which I love. I love the noise and the action in the sky, and it kind of gives you a little breeze, So, no way, Shem. Okay, why? I miss that the chat doesn't show up as a notification. Reading is hot. There's also some drama there. We should talk about it sometime. Some hot drama in Reading. Like, not weather hot. But very interesting, newsworthy drama there that I sometimes kind of like to look at. Not look at as far as like, I don't observe it. I'm just very fascinated by it. So, okay, so one quick little thing, because I find this really interesting. I will be 52 in like a couple weeks or something. Which is, if you're not older, like you're in your 20s or 30s, I know what it's like to think of being that age. It just seems really far away, right? I feel like I've always been friends with people of all ages all at the same time. Like, I regularly hang out with people in their 20s, and I've always hung out with people that are much older than me. I've always like not had an issue with it. But it's interesting because I actually think about age a lot. And I think it's because one of the interesting things, I have a reason I'm talking to you about this. I just find age interesting because one of the things I like to do when I meet somebody is I think about them, and I think when I'm like trying to understand this person, because I really like understanding people and where they're coming from. And I try and picture them, who they are in relation to someone I've known in my life, all right? So you know that person you knew in high school who was always doing whatever, that thing, right? And then you meet someone and they're like 30 years older than that, and you're like, you are that person. You were that person in high school that I knew, right? And the same thing with someone is younger. I look at them and go, I know the older version of you. And it doesn't mean like, I'm not talking about bad things. I'm talking about just interesting personality traits and things. Like, I can pick my personality traits. Sometimes I'm like, oh my God, that was me when I was younger, you know? And of course, we always find ourselves somewhat annoying, right? But I think age is really interesting, especially because I hang out with a lot of younger people. Sometimes it comes up, especially because it's in the gaming world, and the gaming world is notoriously ageist, sexist, you name it. It's all the ists, racist, all of it. It's bad. But what I find really interesting is trying to explain how your brain in your head is the same brain you have your whole life, right? So in your head, you're just that person. You're not really that age. And it's hard for someone to relate to the age they haven't been yet. And so you look at someone much older than you, and you just think they can't relate. They may not be able to relate to some of the things you're dealing with today because they didn't have those same exact things, because the world does change around us. But they have been that age, and they do know. And so in my head, I'm still all of the ages I've ever been. That's the thing I want to like say with that aspect, right? And I think it's really interesting because I will be called like old for doing something or whatever, and I'm like, are you kidding me? Like, you're doing that too. You just are seeing an older person do it, right? So this is like, for me, age is always a really interesting thing. I wouldn't say I'm fixated on it, but I really find it fascinating. You know, and then when you start seeing all the things that level age, like this person died of this at this age, and this person died of the same thing at a much younger or much older age. Like, there's all these things that kind of level that out, right? That kind of make you go, yeah, we're starting really deep. Okay, I have a point to this because I just find this kind of thing interesting. So today on the So Over 50 account, and if you're not 50, if you're not 40, you're probably not even aware of this account, or you're not interested in this account, and I understand that. If you're 40, I would recommend following it. I followed it before I was 50, mainly because the person who started that account, we were recommended to each other by Instagram because we started our accounts the same month or week. And so I became friends with her virtually. And that was Judith Rosland, right? So it's been so cool to see that account grow and change. And now they've turned the account over to other people. Judith, along with a few others, just just released a report today showing the representation of age in 2 ways. One on pattern covers and one represented on the grid of a pattern company. I don't think a fabric company, just a pattern company, right? And they left out certain factors, like they didn't count children or something else. I can't remember, right? So this isn't like a scientific study. This is a amateur. I mean, I'm not going to say it's an amateur study. I don't know the other people involved. I'm not going to say anything about that. Okay, so it's interesting because what they did was they looked at and you can just go to the Sew Over 50 account, and there's 2 posts, one regarding pattern covers and one regarding grid. And as a YouTuber, when I first started my YouTube account, I started it like in the spring, and I didn't start live streaming until August. So I just had my YouTube anniversary, which means nothing since I didn't actually start using my YouTube account because I was getting things in play. And remember, I had a really, really successful and busy manufacturing and design business. And so I was trying to chip away at starting live streaming on the side just for fun, because I was kind of interested in connecting with other sewists, right? And actually helping other people sew production. That was like one of my main things, because I'm always trying to help other people sew production and get them all industrial machines because so many people don't have them. So when I first started live streaming, I started poking around in analytics, and my viewership was all mostly like the categories start, like the over 50 category starts at 45, so 45 to like 54 or something like that. All of my viewers were over 45. And at first I was like, well, this is so interesting. I was not over 50 at the time, right? Grid of the Instagram grid. Anytime people talk about grid, it's usually the Instagram, the posts, not the reels. That's what they left out, reels and children. So, and I thought that was really interesting. I was like, well, that's interesting. There's a lot to, that could totally denote that, right? There is the factor that most people in that age bracket are maybe home, because some of them are in the retirement age category. Or maybe they're a homemaker. Or maybe it's a time zone thing. They're in Europe. I had a lot of Europeans. Maybe it's because I'm older, right? There's all these little things. Remember, TikTok wasn't a thing. Like, it was, but it wasn't a thing, right? So short form content hadn't blown up, which short form content is what I mean by like reels, YouTube shorts, and TikTok, right? So I thought that was interesting. I don't pay attention a lot to analytics because it's just, my YouTube channel is not going to be that kind of YouTube channel because it's sewing, right? It's sewing, and I'm over 50, and I live stream a lot. So I have watched that age thing because I find it fascinating of all the analytics. Gender and age aren't like next to each other. I've always had probably like 5% male, 95% female, and then my analytics always like leaned towards the older. That evened out. Like as I got a little, like grew a tiny bit, it evened out. And I would say that still the larger portions were in those 45 and up. And there's a lot of categories there. It's 45 to 55 or 45 to like 54 or something. And then like 55 to 60 and 60 to 65. They like break it up. So currently to this day, my lifetime YouTube stats, 60% of my viewers are 45 and over, 60%. And most of those are, I would say probably a good chunk are in the higher end of that 60%, right? So I asked this YouTuber group that I'm in on Facebook that's only sewing related YouTube. So most of them are vloggers, and you follow a lot of them. You guys watch a lot of them, right? Like they do unboxings. They show what they've made. They're not necessarily in the like tutorial category where I would probably be. But we're all doing sewing related content. And I asked them, I was like, hey, would you guys be interested in posting either on Instagram or here, and I'll share it, your age stats for your lifetime and tell me your age. And all of them have been, the bulk of their views are over 45, which I think is really interesting. And I think that this has something to do with currently. So mine were like well over that age, and then they evened out a little bit. And then last year I had a pretty big growth spurt, and it's all very much in that, over 50 category now. So it's over 60% of my views are there. And then the other breakdowns, like there's a lot of categories below the 45, and some of them I don't have any viewership in, right? So I find this really interesting, and I think it's for a few things. I think that, it could be that YouTube is ageist, right? There's a chance YouTube's ageist. They're like, oh, you watch sewing? You must be older. YouTube has no idea who I am or how old I am. It's very obvious. I watch Fortnite videos a lot. I will admit that. I love watching Fortnite videos. Fortnite's really entertaining to watch. I watch YouTube creator analytic types of things. And I watch other gaming things. I watch a lot of younger content creators because I find it really interesting seeing how they structured their editing and their YouTube channel. I watch YouTube editing things. I watch a little bit of sewing, but I don't watch that much sewing. What else do I watch? Gardening things, stuff like that. I'm all over the map. So sometimes I'm getting ads for a 25-year-old guy. Dudes, those ads, man. Sometimes they think I'm into makeup. Oh, those are equally as bad. So they really can't figure out who I am. But I think that YouTube could be ages. They could be like, hey, you watch a lot of sewing. Maybe you're older, right? Who knows? I don't remember if you have to put in your age when you create an account. The other thing is that a lot of younger people are probably watching vertical content, like short form content. I would dispute this because there's a lot of people Gen X is representing in short form on TikTok, right? Like they're representing a significant amount of people on there, I'm pretty sure. I don't know the stats. I don't do TikTok. I have an account on there. I have posted things on there. It is not my main thing. This is my main thing, right? So I'm finding this a really interesting exercise. Is it a short form versus long form thing? Is it a more older people watch YouTube? Is it more older people watch sewing YouTube? Is it that they like long form content? Is it that they're patient enough to watch a live stream? So anyway, I just thought I'd point you to that study they did because it is really interesting. And if you're interested in supporting companies that represent age, and let me tell you, if you're not this age and you're just like, that doesn't apply to me and it's not interesting, it does apply to you. Age matters. And we're the ones financing everything. And most of the dollars that are being spent in these hobbies are over 50-year-olds. We are financing this stuff. And so it does matter. All young people are on TikTok, not Instagram and Facebook. Yeah, I know that. Exactly. But not all. And not all people on TikTok are young. I wonder what the stats are. They probably majority are though, especially the really young, like under 18-year-olds. So anyway, I just thought it'd be really interesting. I think that there is this really interesting stigma with sewing, like knitting, being tied to this elderly, gray-haired white woman sitting on a porch, rocking in a chair, hand sewing, quilting, or knitting. Oh, yeah, exactly, Curtis. Yeah, I gave up Discord. Discord's a hot mess sometimes. But I love the notification sound. Like that Discord notification sound's absolutely one of the best of all of them. I have a Discord tab. I think I got rid of it. And last I looked, it said I had like 214 notifications. It's like the only thing I have that I'm like, nope, not opening that. And I'm only in like 2 groups. So it's kind of funny. So anyway, I get kind of fired up about stats and stuff like that and interesting things. So I just thought I'd mention that. Oh my God, it's already 11:20. Let's get sewing. Especially the quilting realm, especially the sewing realm, especially the knitting realm. I see the most hilarious arguments about things. You know, I've heard this argument from a couple of you, like it kind of torques you that people will post videos like, hack this into that, like it's some cool thing, when sewists have literally been hacking their garments from the get-go. That's literally what you have to do as a sewist. If you are wanting complete customization, complete control over sewing and fitting, you are going to hack or fit things or change them, swap out sleeves, get the most out of that garment, right? You're like, I fit this bodice, I want this sleeve, not that sleeve, you swap it. And that is not a new thing, and it torques people when they say that. So yeah, any textile realm, yeah, any of those. Yeah, so anyway, hello everybody. That's exactly, Libby. Yeah, hopefully they would get more visibility. The first post I saw on Sew Over 50 was all about menopause, and I wasn't in menopause. And the comments section was one of the most hilarious, enlightening, sad, like all kinds of things. It was so entertaining, and I was like, oh, this is, I love it when people just talk plainly about things, you know, get rid of the mystery. And you know, 50 has looked so different over the decades, right? 50-year-olds are looking younger and younger compared to past 50-year-olds or 60-year-olds or 70-year-olds. And that is a really interesting thing too. Cool, Blue Magilla, yeah. It's a good one. Watch them a little bit faster. I did a lot of seam ripping in the last one, not because of the pattern, but me. So, all right, let's sew some pants. I just wanted to tell you all that because I am interested in things like that. So, yeah. And I'm really thankful to like all these like people in the sewing vlogger group that are like humoring me and sending me their screenshots and things. And it's everyone from like, I think the youngest was 29. Her channel showed the most percentage towards the younger age, but it was still like, you know, on the bottom half of that grid. So yeah, okay, so let's recap where we're at here. So we have sewn, oh, I did one thing after I got off live. I ended up straightening this out a little bit, so I unpicked this right here, and I drew a line parallel to this folded edge and made it straighter. I still have trouble with this one because of the zipper pull here. This is the side zip. So this is the side zip, and this is the back leg, and this is the front leg. So we have one leg done here, and now we have this one. So I think our next thing is we're going to do this side seam over here, and then the inseams, and then the crotch seam, and then we're going to do the waistband. So anyway, how are you guys doing this Saturday? All right, so it looks like we have this extra here that we must need to trim off because we don't really need this flap here for the side zip. We don't only needed one side zip. And this is the seam right here. So I think I'm gonna just trim it down so I have the 5/8. I'm gonna do a flat filled seam here too. Oh, I finished my tuck top finally. Let's see, where's my full screen? Remember the one I drafted? So this linen, it is stretchy McStretchy. It's not stretchy, but it relaxes. And so I had to undo this facing and do it again. Remember the first pattern I did was like, not fitting. Second one I did, it just still didn't look great because I did it kind of on the fly on the table. So I took it out and redid it. And I'm pretty happy with where it's at. But this pattern needs a few tweaks, but I'm glad I finally get to wear it. So this is my first day wearing it. I thought it would look cute with these pants. I was motivated. All right, let's just find our 5/8. It's about right there, yeah. So I was thinking we're gonna take off like 3/8 here. And just trim off this little bit here, which, yes, should line up with that seam most likely. You're right, Amy. You know, stereotypes are, they become a thing because they're somewhat true. Older people can do these crafts because they have a little bit more time sometimes, right? And money. All right. Sorry, we'll stop touching that thing. Aw, thanks, you guys. I was talking to someone recently, and I got so tempted to start a pattern company, and I was like, no. No, Saremy, stop it. But I'm definitely going to be drafting more things. I plan things out so far in advance. Flat-felled. Shoot, first thing we're doing is pulling out the seam ripper. You just got to do it, you know? Your seam ripper is just a tool. Don't go, oh, I've already started. I didn't want to do that, but now I've already started. I'll just keep going. If you're feeling like that, you know? Full seam allowance, because we're going to do a flat-felled seam. Wait, we don't want a flat-felled seam, because it won't match this side. Let's do a French seam. So then I did start off correctly. We're going to do a French seam on the side seam. I mean, it's funny to me, those stereotypes, because I have been doing this since I was like 14. I've never stopped, right? I went to fashion school. Fashion school, there's no stereotype of an older, you know, gray-haired person. So it's interesting that we can go from that existing, like this whole fashion world existing, but home sewing is only relegated to this other like stereotype. It's like the math ain't mathin', right? There's so many people in the knitting world and in the in any of these, especially knitting. I see a lot of musicians and mathematicians and engineers. And in sewing, it's kind of similar. I feel like I'm shouting. Hey, Christina. I've hardly said hi to all of you. Sorry, guys. I kind of went right into that because I just wanted to share it with you. I thought I just saw a flash. All right. Gonna do a French seam. So we're just gonna trim this down. I made so much headway on this like secret project I'm doing yesterday. I feel so fired up now to do it. I hope it turns out. I'm totally nervous, but you know. I won't, I'm one of those people that sometimes I get something in my head and I just can't stop until it's done, even if no one ever sees it. Process, you know, process. But trust me, you'll see this one. It's too big. Hey, Donna. Donna, I'm gonna meet you in like 2 weeks. It's crazy. When do you leave to come to the United States? You must leave sooner than that. All right, let's go over here. Let's turn my monitor here. I kind of wish I wouldn't have put that interfacing on the hip over here just because it's going to show on the inside. I don't like that. Nice, Blue Magilla. That's awesome. The tax season really slipped by me this year. In California, almost all the counties here got an extension because of the flooding that we received. And it really made the tax season feel not very urgent because nobody was talking about it. And like the day before the deadline, I was like, oh my, I had like a panic attack. And then I realized we have till like November. Nice, Shim. Wow, you started this morning? You fit both Glee pants and the Marians, and I'm going to... Ooh, Aisha, you made some progress on that. That's exciting. Oh, I'm so glad, Blue Magilla. I'm sure I can talk nonsensically about enough stuff so I won't distract you too much on your stuff. This will stabilize the hip, though, which is kind of good. You're going to say that part of the demographics has to be the sewing is not. Yeah, I literally, yeah. That's exactly what I mean by, you know, we are financing these industries. I think that hobbies have changed so much when you think about the invention of the internet and purchasing, right? Do you guys remember when the internet was new and you couldn't shop on the internet, right? It's kind of hard to even remember the fact that fact, right? I'm trying to just line up this seam right here, and I kind of want to look in here and do that. But I'm just going to place my yoke seam on top of itself there. I remember the first, like when we first started hearing that people could shop on the internet. We weren't worried about scams or viruses or credit card fraud, right? We kind of were, but not like we are now. We went from a world of sending box tops in and waiting 6 to 8 weeks for delivery to shopping on the internet and getting it in 4 days. It was insane. It was a really big difference. We all lived in a world without Amazon. Yeah, catalog, exactly. Catalogs. You know, that you had to still wait. Remember, you had to fill in the little order form in the catalog and send it away. Oh, you fly on Thursday. Okay, cool, Donna. Thanks for telling me. Oh, you leave home on Wednesday, travel to London, and fly Thursday. Nice. Yay. I am excited. Okay, how do we feel about that seam matching there? I think we're gonna have to do better. The whole point of these is the optical illusion, in my opinion. So I'm just gonna take this out above and below. This little black thread's plaguing me. I can see it and I'm like, what is that? I thought I got rid of it twice. Yeah, they'd be out of your color or size and you'd go through the whole thing again. Let alone if you had to exchange something like that. Oh my gosh. Yeah. Things were also cheaper then. Someone's making the worker pant. For when the first hyperlink was a success. Oh my gosh, right? Yeah, a handwritten check. Oh my gosh. The day USPS started dying. We're becoming less relevant because I still use US mail. right, we're gonna try and get this matching better. What can we do here? All right, first of all, let's pull it up here. And we're gonna try and place this seam right where we want it. More like that. I'm gonna tack it there first. Let's see if I got it. I could probably deal with that. But I think I'm gonna pull it a little more when I get there with my awl. Jeez Louise. I'm wearing a skirt today, and it's not my, I love this skirt. Like, I was like gonna wear pants today, and I was like, oh, it's gonna be 90, which means it's gonna be 100 in my office. And I was like, well, maybe I'll wear a skirt. And I forgot I made the Elmwood by Cashmere, which I love and is so comfortable. But sitting in a skirt, you know, I feel a little bit more like, you know, more hemmed in. Even though this one's it's so comfortable because of the contoured waistband. It's great. You've never written a check in your life. Interesting. So that just was not a form of payment in Sweden? Yeah, Christina. Green stamps. Oh God, I remember those. Those were a little. Those were like, I feel like I remember blue chip stamps too. I feel like I'm a little young for those. Yeah, money orders. I think I can handle that, except I can't handle all these little threads right here. When I traveled to the UK with my mom, she got traveler's checks and I used my debit card the whole time. And it was so interesting because that really freaked her out that that's what I was doing, because she just was like, you don't have any money, you know. They didn't have a debit card for a really long time. And my mom's actually pretty progressive. Like, she's not, you know, bad with technology, I would think, you know, like, or I would say, okay, where's this little thread at? Is it up here? Where's this thread right here? This thread right here. Where are you? You are, don't use that. Use this right here. But what was great about the debit card was that I could see the exchange rate, you know. I could go online. I had to go to an internet cafe to do that, though. There were no smartphones. And I could go and look what the exchange rate was and see what I paid. She liked that. There we go. There it is. Okay, cool. It's just a little back tack thread, so I don't want to remove it, but there we go. I'm just a kid. My mom is very, very, very young at heart. Like, my mom is like, she's just really fun. She's got a very upbeat personality. She, like, growing up with her, she was always fun and silly and just always got down on my level, and my brother and sister. You know, like, she was really playful, serious too, but at the same time, like she was a nurse, and then she worked at an elementary school as their school nurse, like they called it a health receptionist, and because they couldn't call her a nurse. And she was all about the kids. Like, she wore socks to make them happy, you know, and fun shirts and everything, and whatever, headband. Like, she's that person. Like, she's that person, like, just full-on cheerleader type, right? And I don't think she was a cheerleader, though. And she also, like, always pretends like if there's an animal there, like, she'll give it a voice and it'll be talking, you know, or she'll change the words to songs, you know. I feel like that really set me up for, you know, being kind of young at heart still, too, you know? I don't know. It's kind of funny. She's real fun. Okay, which one's the back and which one's the front? I know because I have this one here. Okay, so I would like to check to see how big I think I need the elastic needs to be right now before I sew the inseam. So we're gonna try this on my dress form here. I didn't want to bring my pant form over here because I didn't really like, oh geez, it's caught on a mat. Oh my gosh, please stop that. This mat has both made my life easier and harder. Okay. I don't have Venmo. Okay, this is the back. So this is going to be like this. And what I'm looking for is the waist. So it's going to be about right here, I think. I'm going to get an approximation for what I think the back elastic measurement needs to be. We'll see. Yeah, it does, Sydney. That's why my joke of you won't know if I'm coming or going. All right, here's the side zip. I'm hoping you know that. Wait a minute. That is what they look like on the cover, right? All of a sudden I'm like, wait, doesn't the point go down in the center front? But that would be impossible. My pad? No, I don't even know what that is. My pad for your needles. Okay. So the front's going to be smooth. It's just the back here that is loose. And I just kind of want to see where this is at on my body here. I can't really put the crotch together down here at the point. So this could be a little lower. Maybe down here. And I'm just trying to get an idea of where this waistband's going to be. Yeah, this is not the top of the waist. There's a waistband. Here, let me show you a picture. Okay, you can't hear me, but I'm going to show you the thumbnail really quick. Take a look. I was trying to enlarge it, but I just couldn't. So the one on the left, they did no contrast, and the one on the right is like mine. So I'm gonna have a waistband on here. This is closer to where I think the rise will be. So I just wanna know, like right here, if my piece of elastic that I cut, I think that'll work fine. We just want to know from side seam to side seam what this needs to be. Well, I should pull this actually. Yeah, that'll work. All right. Now we can do, come on, Trixie. The lap zipper, no. There is under facing. See? That tension of that bobbin. It's like I did a lap zipper. This is not how the instructions come, by the way. I think they just do a keyhole with still a fly shield. I used, yeah, a lap zipper for the zipper. It's just a coil chain. All right, so we're gonna do the inseams now. And these I'm gonna do flat felled. So we're gonna put these wrong sides together. I'm gonna do the inseam here, match the knee notches. This is a pretty wide leg. Full seam allowance. I ordered 2 feet, sewing machine feet yesterday, but get this, I ordered them for my home machine. Can you believe it? I need one of them for this project I'm working on, and then the other one I got was a button foot. I'm just gonna try it out because I'm kind of tired of holding, like I don't usually machine sew my buttons on, but I want to do that, and I want to put something in between the button and the garment, or just, you know, I just want some slack so I can weave the shank still. And I kind of want to try those. Those Bernina feet, they are no joke as far as cost. I was like, $60 for a foot? I ordered 2 plus 5 rolls of binding. 5 rolls of binding? 3 rolls of binding from Sweden for $100. That was a whole binding attachment, 2 binding attachments. They weren't feet, I guess. All right, let's do this one too. Wrong sides together. We're doing a flat felled inseam. I think I'll do a flat felled crotch seam too, if I can. I'm just a little concerned about that yoke seam playing nice. Wait. Okay, so this one is like this. And this is the front with the bobbin thread on here. This one, oh, I did it right just by accident. Probably because I started from the bottom of that one and I'm starting the top of this one. Lots of threads. Oh, I feel like that just got a little narrow right there. I don't think there's easing between the crotch and the knee. It doesn't. If it is, it's very slight. I don't feel it. But remember, your pants should always line up from the knee to the hem. And if these 2 lengths from the crotch to the hem, the crotch to the knee are different, you should ease it. Make sure you line it up there. All right, so now we have, those are my 2 fronts. There's my pants. We're gonna trim the back leg. No, we're gonna trim the front leg, right? We pull this forward. What do we want? Yeah, I'm gonna pull this forward. So we're gonna trim the front leg. I think that's what I normally do, right? I am now. Okay. Dylan. They are pricey. Mine came with a few feet, but it was geared towards quilters. So there wasn't going to be the feet that I wanted because they were more garment related. And my Bernina's older. Like it doesn't, you know, like Bernina's can be really old, but mine's a 140. I think those were first made in like 98. I didn't buy it in 98. I bought it, oh wait, did I? No. I honestly don't remember. I've had it a while. Maybe someday I would get a nicer home machine. One that does, basically I just want a home machine that does a nice buttonhole. That's all I want. I don't care what else it does. Nice zigzag, nice buttonhole, that's all. Oh, that's interesting. Because I'm going over the front, I'm going to get the good side of my top stitching on both sides. I'm actually not going to iron this one. I just like ironing the first one. The other one I'll just do freehand. But you get a nicer finish if you press that probably. You can get a nice even flat felled seam. It's my inseam. I don't stress about those things. $19.81, yeah, see. I feel like, you know, I've been using Bernina's. That was my first machine because it was my mom's. And hers was not young. It was lost in the fire, so it's not around anymore. But, hey, Leah, how's it going? We about halfway done. Are we about halfway done? Well, yeah, I mean, all I have is I'm finishing the inseams, and I have the rise and then the waistband. So. Here's the reason you don't want to do a flat felled seam is now it's going to be kind of hard to sew it. Let's get comfortable. I'm just going to pull the camera down. It's going to be a little annoying while you do this since we are on the inseam. But it's a wide leg, so we've done worse. We've done harder. Wait, I feel like I'm already, no, I'm not, okay. Probably should have trimmed these threads before I started because there's quite a few. Don't let me forget my label. I need to figure the label out probably next or right after the rise. The best thing about a Bernina is the seam ripper it comes with. If you know, you know. I don't know why, but the seam ripper is one of the best seam rippers I've ever used in my life. It is so sharp. I wonder if it's the same one, but I've asked people, do you still get a really amazing seam ripper? And they're like, yeah, it's the best. I wonder if they still do that. Oh, almost started sewing it. See, this is why usually you would do your inseam before your side seam, and that probably would have been a really good call on my part. But I wanted to know that elastic amount, right? Hey, Eliza, how's it going? You didn't miss much because I talked a lot at the beginning about something, and so I didn't start sewing till like 11:30, like a half hour in. So all I've done so far is a side seam, and now I'm doing the inseams and I'm flat felling them, and obviously it's going to be an inch at a time. But if you are like not quite here yet and you want this to be easier and you want to flat fell your inseam, don't sew your side seam. So you can do the one with the zipper, leave the other one open, and then do your One leg will be easy, one leg will be hard. It'll help with one. If you want them to be really easy, you could do your inseam and then your zipper on that one leg. There we go. We made it. There we go. Looks good. Nice flat seam. One more. This one's gonna be actually maybe a little harder. I don't know. Harder? Easier? We'll see. I can't wait to see Shim's needle organizer because look at this is mine. This is my ballpoint needle. It's a magnet and I have a needle on it and it sticks to my machine. That's my needle organizer. Oh, it was about the Sew Over 50 report on representation of models in pattern covers and on their Instagram grid. And I'm just kind of interested, I'm kind of into those stats. So all day today, I'll be posting any YouTuber or content creator of any kind, their stats in my stories. I'm going to save it to a highlight as well. Hey, Mary Ellen, how's it going? Oh, that's awesome. That's nice of you. Thanks. I don't know why you thought that one was a good one to watch, though, man. It was a seam ripper fest. Wait, you never heard of... Oh, have you ever heard of a children's picture book called the Snatch-a-Book? How's your knee, Eliza? Is it like all healed and you're doing cartwheels and back handsprings now? Taking steps 2 at a time. Can you guys even see what I'm doing? Yeah. My little, it's like a well, you know? And we start building up the sides of a well here. Oop, long thread, long thread. Get rid of that one there. We're almost there. I tend to sew a little more wiggly when I do these really short spurts. But I think this has actually been good for my, hopefully it looks a little nicer than usual because I am going slow and folding it. That looks pretty good. Cool. All right. Onto our rise. Put one leg inside out. Wait, yeah, wrong sides together. I'm gonna do a French, no. Flatfelled or French? Do I think I could do a flat-felled seam with this? I think I could. I don't know. Let's see. Let's kind of like feel it. If this was our flat-felled seam, right? Let's pretend like this one's cut shorter. Let's get rid of this little wing here. All right, so then this one's cut shorter. Here's the seam, right? We're folding it like that, and then we're folding it under. And it would be on that match thickness like that. Okay, I think that's doable. I think that this is kind of the limit as far as what I'm like gonna be able to just breeze through with my industrial. This is, you know, linen, and it's a lot of layers, right? Because we have a flat felled seam here. If you press your seam open, it won't be like that. If you pressed it one direction, I think it'll be a little less as well because you don't have to turn under. So if you're doing a heavier denim, just be careful there, you know. So All right. So we're going to do a flat felled seam, which means I want to do this wrong sides together. Trust me, I'm a professional. I have to think about it every time, especially when I'm flipping between French and flat felled. Okay, so what I like about doing a flat felled for this matching here is that it's going to give me an opportunity maybe to correct it if it's a little bit not matching. Or maybe it'll disrupt it. Wait, so if we sew this on the seam and then we open this up and we fold it, it's not going to look matched there. It's not going to look matched there, and we need it to match. We can't do flat felled. We can do French though. Let's do a French seam. It's a loose enough rise. I'm not too worried about it. All right. Glad we thought that through. So do you know what I mean? So like once I sew the seam right here, right? Because we're going to be folding this over onto the other side here, it would disrupt this point. Doesn't matter how well I sewed it, it would look like that, right? Just to exaggerate it. So that's why I'm going to opt for a French seam. All right. I'm trying to match it. Look at this gigantic rise. Okay. Pull these little threads. I did backstitch some of the inseam top stitching. Now I could top stitch my French seam down. I can even double top stitch it. Oh my gosh, Leah, I know exactly what you're talking about. I'm gonna pin this one here. Don't pull. Yeah, right. I think that was I've been sewing for me for so long that I remember when my patterns stopped fitting, like the whole bodice stopped fitting across the width of fabric. So just because I've been doing this for a really long time, as you age or, things happen in your life change, everything about our lives change and our bodies change all through our life. You still have to learn how to accommodate those things for forever. You're never going to get away from that. And that's just like one little thing that just made me go, oh, that's interesting. My bodice has stopped fitting across the width of the fabric. And that made me start going, oh, maybe this is why this doesn't fit that great anymore. This other thing I've gotten too big for it. I need to make a larger size, or I need to buy a larger size. And so it was like one of those little indications to me to pay attention. Like that's what triggered me paying attention a little bit better about certain things. Whatever it takes. Because sometimes you've been doing something for so long, you'd stop taking your measurements. There's that too. You stop taking your measurements and then you're like, why doesn't this fit? then you realize, oh, I haven't taken my measurements in like 6 months or 2 years or whatever. And it's just very natural and normal. I don't know why I'm trimming this so low. I'm a little nervous. I'm like, why am I trimming this so low? Okay. Yeah, and seeing like my underwear, when I make underwear, I'm like, there is no way that thing is gonna fit me. They look a lot bigger than me. But the torso of the body is a really interesting area to fit because you're not just talking about one measurement, you're talking about length and width in one spot. That's why. You need it all. Okay, wait, which way are we going? Are we gonna go... Oh, it doesn't matter. We're not doing a flat filled seam. I was like, I can't turn that over. Oh, man. We need a heart attack meter sometimes. How many times will Saremy give herself a heart attack in this stream? Pushing this way? Okay. I'm just going to press it. Yep, me too, Aisha. I do too. I measure every time. Now, okay, wait. We want to put one leg inside the other just to iron along this seam here. The irony that we really judge our bodies based on what a cut piece looks like, but then if it fits and we're really comfortable, it, you know, we feel so good. It looks good. It just don't matter. Yeah, right, Mullen? Exactly. Before you put the elastic on things, it's really shocking how much that elastic works. Like how hard it's working. Oh, interesting, Eliza. Yeah. Yeah, that is very true. Sorry, you probably can't see very well, huh? This is as far as I can zoom this camera in. It's pretty high above me. It's actually not bad, huh? Let's... What is all that? Look at all that thread vomit there. Sheesh. Get rid of some of that. Okay. I'll be fussy with these little junctures when we go to sew, but right now we're just going to press it. All right, so now we have our whole rise here. So let's put this one a little better on the edge. I did a little experiment this week. Okay, I actually don't really go out like places like to eat very often. But don't get me wrong, like I love just eating to-go food and eating out. Like I love eating at home a lot, and it's what I initially will prefer. But when I live in like any kind of like populated area and I live near things, I will just start getting totally hooked on eating out and stuff. I can't do that here. There's nothing around here. We do have a Starbucks up here, and I love their pink drink. It's like one of my favorite things to get there. I haven't had one in like months and months, probably since last summer. And it just popped into my head the other day, and my daughter has worked at a coffee shop, and I was like, hey, do you know how to make this? And she goes, oh yeah, we make those all the time. Gave me her recipe. Then I looked up other recipes. And so that's what I've been doing this week, is hacking my own pink drink recipe. So that's been kind of fun. Okay. Let's look at our, like, what am I feeling here when I'm trying to line these up? I'm trying to feel that edge here of the top stitching. It's the bottom edge that we want. They look like a windsock. I feel like that there's a like a children's book where they use the underwear as like the sail for a boat. It's really cute and useful. Look at all this. Let's get rid of some of this. Do you ever do this and then you're like, well, there went my entire back stitch. I've got to do another one. And then you get the same exact thing again. Yeah, me too. Let's just try and break it up a little bit. I try and just find a loose thread first. Because if I really just want to go chunk and then your back stitch is gone. But maybe if you can kind of untangle some of it, you know. I don't think any of this is going to get untangled though. But I don't like it, so. Ooh, I got something. Chunk. Okay, did I lose my back stitch? Test it out. I can't believe that it would be secure. No, there we go. Yeah, there. Okay, I did lose it. That's okay. We'll just put a new one in. Let me get rid of some of this. Why does it do this? I'll answer that in a second, Leah. This probably was either because I forgot to sew a little bit after I put a new bobbin in, or there was just it got stuck maybe on the thickness here. So let me show you. Because there's a seam juncture right here, sometimes what'll happen is when I go to start, which I started right there, the machine gets a little hung up on that bump, right? And so then it's stalling out there and sewing a little too much in one spot, and there's just no place for the thread to go, right? It probably sometimes doesn't feel like that's happening, and it is happening, and sometimes it's really obvious when it's happening. And I know then, oh, I've got thread vomit under there I got to deal with. So there's a few reasons. It's good to, like, when you feel something happen when you're sewing, look at it later on just to go, I wonder if that made it look different. And then you kind of start recognizing what makes what. So if I wasn't sewing on camera, would you be trying these pants in the middle of sewing to check the fit? I would probably check them after, right after this rise. Or I might try it on when it's two separate legs. Okay, Sydney. I'm trying to think, Leah, when I would try things on. Okay, so I checked the fit of these as far as comparing them. You saw in the quick fit session, I was really diligent about comparing these and checking these and being honest about it, right? And I did make one change. I feel pretty confident about that. The other thing that really gives me confidence is that these are an elastic back. If these weren't an elastic back, I probably would try these on more, maybe one more time. Like I would probably try them on either. The reason I'm hesitating is because when I sew pants, usually I sew the fronts together the backs together, and then I have a front and a back, and then I do the side seams and inseams. I do the like inseam first and then the side seams, I think, because I usually do a flat filled seam. I don't think that that's like a better way to sew pants at all, because I really like this way where the crotch seam is in a continuous seam. I think that's better, kind of like an armhole, right? It's going to be a little more comfortable. It's going to separate the legs a little bit better. I think you could do either. I like doing it the other way because it's very clear cut and it's very easy to wrap your head around, like for other people, like especially when you're watching, right? So I don't usually have two separate legs when I sew pants, and so that is a little trickier. I'm not a big fan of fitting my pants with only one leg. And the reason I say that, because I know it's really popular to do, and I think it's totally a legit way to do it. I don't, because I don't trust that I'm going to put that right perfectly at my center, especially in the back. So I'm already I doubt it then, and then I'm like, well, you're just going to try these on when they're a whole pair of pants, so why not just wait till then? So whereas if I had the front and the back, I'm more apt to hold those up to me and pin them together on the sides and then see the fit, rather than doing one leg. I think having the whole front and the whole back. So that's just my thing. But I don't try things on a lot. Oh, let me check my matching here. Yeah, it could be a little further down. Sorry, that was such a long-winded reply, and it's really just because of the way these are made. I don't sew them like this sometimes, so. All right, I was gonna slide that down a tiny bit more. It's funny that I'm having to slide down the top layer a little more, considering the machine would be pushing that. Let's pin this like this and see how it looks. Okay, I like that. Let's see if we can get it to stick. I like that. Why'd I backstitch? Why'd I backstitch? What if I don't like that? Oh, okay, that's okay. I also just didn't want all this thread here. If I'm really nervous about the fit, I make a muslin. I'm not shy about making muslins. I just don't want to waste my time in fabric. So I know a lot of people just don't like doing them, but muslins save fabric and heartache and time. Not wearable muslins. Muslins. Yeah. Yeah, exactly, Aisha. I think it depends too on the kind of pant you're fitting. If you're fitting a looser pant, I think one leg is going to be a little bit more forgiving. If you're fitting a closer fit pant, I'm not going to use one leg. That's just not for me. I know I'll still think, oh, I've got to fit this a little bit more. So it's 2 strands of thread, Eliza. So I have one in the bobbin, but I have 2 cones going through the needle to give it more oomph. I kind of like the way that looks better than top stitching thread, but I have to admit my stitches don't look, they look a tiny bit wiggly because it's 2 strands, but I have an easier time getting the tension correct on the bobbin with 2 strands than I do with top stitch thread. All right. Trying not to distort my curve. So I'm always like pulling the pants. See, this is the curve right here. I'm trying to get it to be relaxed in that curve shape and not distort it. I'm going to worry less about matching my rise because I want to match that yoke. I got this one, but it's a little, I don't want to enclose those threads. The Glebes and the Merriams. Okay, you're trying the one like they, yeah. The Merriams are looser than the Glebes. I trust my eyes. Thank you, Donna. Do I trust my eyes? No, I lie to myself all the time. I lie to myself all the time. I think I can tell when I'm being honest. And I can tell when I'm glossing over things. Very cute. Okay, where's my label? We picked that one. Did we pin it to the waistband like a good girl? No. Where's my label? We picked one, remember? I hope it didn't get thrown away because there was only one of them. Wasn't it this one? Yeah. Why did it end up in here again? You always read the label when you're sewing? Yeah. Oh, the Glebes are wide leg, but the Merriams are looser fitting, even though the other ones are wide leg. Oh. You bought the re-stick tape like you have? Oh, yeah. It's amazing. Yeah, she's talking about removable tape, like just Scotch removable tape. It's so awesome. I know, this stuff's really great. Okay, we really need a label on these because this is the back, by the way. This is the front. I'm never going to know the difference. And, you know, I know Libby's just dying to say, but maybe they'll fit better backwards, right, Libby? Your Fafa always stitches slightly wiggly as standard. Ah! Yeah. I know. Yeah, I mean, like, so let me show you. Let me see if I can find a good spot to show you. Like, look at this top row of stitching on the pocket. I just think like, oh, this camera's probably not good enough for, you can tell, like, look at it. It's not, this is my bobbin, the bottom one. The top one is the 2 rows. It looks better in person, but yeah, they could be better. I think that's when you want to use, for me, I should just use 1 strand. Julie, she means the removable tape that I'm always using in like pattern drafting things. It's just great. You can reuse it. It's better than washi tape. Okay. Here's my front waistband. And we literally were just holding on to the other waistband. Oh, it just fell. Okay. Okay. So I'm probably going to sew this a little different than they do. So I'm sorry. First thing we're going to do, let's orient ourselves, all right? And let's put our label on. Oh, wait. Let's talk about the seam. Do we want to stitch down the center front seam? I think I do want to stitch down the center front seam. I think I do want to stitch down the center front seam. Can I get through here? I think I can. It's a top stitching extravaganza. Hey Jana, how's it going? Welcome. Oh, it's almost bedtime. Yeah, you can also try, do you ever use those Microtex sharp needles, Allie? It's 12:30 in the afternoon for me. All right. And also try, if you can tighten your presser foot, this right here, if you have this right here, this is to, you might know this already, sorry if I'm presuming you don't, but the pressure of your presser foot, if you can tighten that up, that might help a little bit too, because I find that when it's a little loose, like if your presser foot's down and you can pull the fabric out, like I can't pull my fabric out right now. If you can pull your fabric out, it's going to make the stitches loose. It's going to make them slip. Oh, cool. Libby got new labels. She got hers redone. Okay, focus. Focus, Saremy. We're top stitching. We're top stitching. Okay. Which way do we want to go? Do we have anything we need to think about? I think I'm just going to press it to my right. Is it easier? This one's already kind of pressing that way, so let's do that. I'm going to do the one closest to the seam first. Yeah, show us in the guild. Let's move all of this hoo-ha over here. So, I can't, let me look at the calendar. Let me look at the calendar really quick. That's, okay, so next week. Okay, I just wanted to make sure I have another opportunity to let you guys know that I'm going to be at Hearts Fabric in Santa Cruz, California on May 15th because Donna is coming to the States and I'm going to meet her there, and anyone is welcome to come. And when we get closer, we can kind of firm up like a meeting time once I see approximately what's going to work best for everybody. I'll probably just plan to be around all day somehow. So would I explain so much knotting in the back? Oh, like how, like I just was trimming? So explain that again? Do you mean? Is that what you mean? This is pretty thick right here, so I'm just going to tread carefully a little bit. Gosh, really wish I would have turned this a little nicer. You know? Horrible evening. Newborn crying, 2-year-old crying, playing. Oh my goodness. I've been there, and I'm going to tell you what my mom told me. I use this bit of advice for when I'm like can't do the things that I love to do for a really long time. Because there's, you know, we all have our things, right? And sometimes the things that we use to regenerate or just kind of center ourselves, and you can't, if you can't do them, I feel like I'm stitching something wrong right now. I'm not, right? I feel like I am though. Why does this feel so weird? Oh, it's because there's this pant leg in front of me. Oh, sorry. There's a pant leg crossing over. I was like, I am sewing on these pants. I remember this because when I had my daughter, she wanted to be an early bird. I was like, no, ma'am, we are not early birds. Your dad might be an early bird. You and I, we're living this life together. We're going to have to see each other every day. We're not living this early bird life. So I didn't let her be an early bird. She has now become an early bird. And I remember telling that to my mom. Oh, look at that. That looks so wiggly there. And she said, this is what she said to me. So this is what I want to say to you when you get to do your craft. She said, you know, Emmy, my mom calls me Emmy. You know, Emmy, I just want you to know that the day you get to start sleeping in again or sleeping at the time, like waking up in the morning when you like to wake up, it's going to feel just as good as it always did to you. And that literally kept me going, because you feel a little bit like when you can't do the things that you want to do that kind of make you who you are, like the things that kind of are the things that keep you going, right? Whether it's crafting or your routine or anything like that, you feel a little bit like you are missing out on something, because the you that you know you are would be doing those things and you're not doing them, whatever they are, whether it's eating at a certain time or eating a certain thing or waking up or getting to your hobbies or your exercise. When she said that to me, it made me realize I'm not missing anything. I'm not missing out on anything. It's all still here inside of me, and I'll get to do this again. And she was right. As corny as all that sounds, it really kept me going. So. Okay, Donna. I am not watching my top stitching right now very well. I feel like the two rows are very close together. I'm just like shoving my philosophical things on you. All right, here we are. This is very thick. That's kind of why it got a little wiggly. There we go. Okay. Is this the front? Please tell me that this is the back. It is the back. Okay. Free pass. All right, so this is the back. We need this label more than anything we've ever needed before in our lives. Where the heck did it go? Because I can't tell the back from the front otherwise. I've lost the label again. It's on me. Got it. All right. I should have shoved this. Oh, wait. What kind of style is this? It's not a loop. Oh. I don't want to put it on the back waistband. Like you have to stitch this all the way around. But this is going to be gathered. You know? Dang it. I want that label. But I need a clear indication of the back. See, if I would have known, I could have put it like maybe right here in the pocket. Could I still do that, you think? No, I need to know what the back is, Mullen. There are really hard to tell the difference. Let me show you. Oh, I just turned it inside out. What if I didn't? There's no seam allowance on it. That's why. Okay. Okay. This is the back. This is the front. Oh, I could put it on the outside of the pocket. That's actually an interesting idea. I wish I would have known earlier. What was that noise? Very confusing pant. Blue Magilla, that's a good idea. Oh, Malin, that's a good point. I will. Yeah, Malin's right. If I, once I have the waistband on, it's an elastic back. It'll be very obvious to me. No bra required. Do I want that on the back of my pants? Here? Let's also understand the capabilities of myself. This is the front of the pant, by the way, but I know. Yeah, I think outside is not the way either. Let's see. But maybe on the inside. I feel like someone walked in the building that shouldn't be in the building just now. I'm always torn whether I should lock the door or not. There's usually only one other person that comes on Saturdays, and she's out of town. I'm gonna get some twill tape. I'll be right back. I have some natural twill tape that'll work really good. We just gotta find it. It's webbing. Oh, here we go. I think I could also put it on a piece of bias. You would, yeah, right, Julie? I know. You see, right now I feel like I run the risk if I open my door, I'll have to engage with somebody, and I'm not gonna say I'm live on YouTube. It's so weird. Okay. Oh, this is a nicer. This was a sample from a company. This is a nicer one. Okay. So we could just do this, stitch it like that, and then put this in the seam. I want something that wide. What about... It's just my neighbor. I have just some bias. That could work. What if I did that? I could stitch it like that to the bias. Sorry, it's very bright, huh? I think I'll do that. All right. So, bias doesn't, it might get a little like soft, the edge might get a little soft. Sorry, it's so bright. But it won't fray or unravel. The bias is pretty good about that. So we do something like this. I'm just a little nervous about who's out in the lobby. Okay, here we go. That works. And only like that's how it'll look. This is really soft too. This is a nice way, actually, if you have labels that are kind of pokey or scratchy, or you like to wear your label on your side seam, that rib cage area is kind of a sensitive area. If you did this, it actually makes a nice soft edge. and gets that scratchy edge away from the bias, which is nice. All right, now which one's the back? This is the back. After all that. There we go. Waistband time. All right, so the waistband has elastic on the back, and it has a tab front. So this little guy goes across the side seam where the zipper is. You can put a button and buttonhole there. Do we only get discounted hard to No, anytime you want, 24 hours a day. Online. Oh, you can't use it in person? Okay, so this is my front, and I'm going to sew this right sides together, and we're going to go along this top here. This is like the instructions. This I'm not deviating at this point. So we're going to go across the top. We're going to go around the point, and we're just going to come like to about right here, just like an inch. Okay. So right sides together, and 5/8 inch seams. Is it really 5/8 inch seam? Probably is. 1 1/4 elastic. Maybe not. Let me check the seam allowance on the waistband because it doesn't look wide enough to support 1 1/4 inch wide elastic. Okay, let's see. Doesn't say to change the seam allowance, but it calls for 1 1/4 inch elastic. The instructions are wordy, so I'm just trying to skim them. Yeah, because if I put 1 1/4 inch elastic on here, I don't think I'm left with. I mean, I'm not left with enough to use 5/8. That is 5/8 right there, but that'll make it too tight. So maybe. I think I'm going to do a slightly wider waistband. They ship really fast, you're right. Yeah, sometimes I'm like, oh shoot, I needed to ask a question first. And they're like, we already shipped it. Oh, Barbara said this note. Oh, okay, really? Good to know. Okay. I'm going to make my waistband a little bit wider. So I'm going to do this at 3/8 of an inch here. My point looked so off, but it's the interfacing hanging over the edge. I was a little bit like, why does it look so weird? Oh, wait. Allie had asked a question about knotting. Was it the, let me scroll up. So much. Would you explain so much knotting in the back, too? Well, if you still want to know whatever that was, just ask me again. All right, we're going to go around the point. Make sure you pivot, you know, directly across that point. And it says to sew like 1/4 of an inch in here. So this is what we did. All right. And now I'm going to trim around this point here. And I'm going to just notch this corner here like that. I'm going to leave this one right here for now. Maybe I could do it later. Okay, so I'm gonna pull this apart. And we're gonna sew these right sides together here. So if I do this at a narrower seam allowance, that's right. This is going to make this not wide enough. But this is, why wouldn't that? Oh, I know what it is. I need to do a full 5/8 on this edge, but a narrower on this edge, or I need a wider waistband. We know we don't have any fabric for that. Problems with her faff machine and that the repair might fix both her knotting situation. Oh, she has a knotting situation too. Yeah. Let me think about this. Because if I do this, maybe what I could do is just 1 inch elastic. So one of the things I really like with a elastic waist is I like to be able to edge stitch the top. It makes it look nicer. But even if I didn't do that, I just barely have that 5/8 inch seam. So I'm going to do the full seam allowance along this top edge here, but less at the bottom, and hopefully I'm going to have enough. We'll see. I don't want an asymmetrical point. But maybe what I could do is just go straight here. I am thinking, I'm just going to reinforce this. And then now let's see if this will match a little better. I have some notches on here, I think. It's pretty good. I'm going to press the seam allowance. I'm going to press it towards the back, and we're going to press it towards the inside. Full seam allowance here, though. All right, and now I'm going to press this. I think this seam allowance gets pressed towards the front, but don't quote me on that yet. But when you attach the elastic to it, it's probably gonna, the elastic is gonna win the fight over, you know, pressing the seam or pressing the elastic on there. It's gonna, the elastic's gonna push it toward the front. Pretty sure. It wants to go like this because of this seam right now. Yeah, we're gonna, let's try and start encouraging it, because otherwise we'd have to fold the elastic back on itself, right? Because we're going to attach it to the side seam here. I really got that little wiggly, but it's just ironing. The ironing and the moldability of linen. Start looking at our point here. Can I have a chopstick over here? Maybe not. Okay. refine our point a little bit. There we go. Fold this. Just gonna start training it a little bit. So the thing I'm gonna do differently than their instructions is my usual sew from the wrong side to the right side. And we'll see how it goes. All right, where's our pant? I'm gonna put them right side out. Is there a notch on here? I'm just kind of curious how this is gonna line up. So this goes to the zipper and the point. And I'm just walking this around to see how things are looking. Trying to see if I have, oh, here's a notch right here. So this notch goes here, like that. So actually, we're gonna go from the wrong side to the right side. It's a lot easier to do. And we will do the elastic too, so we're just doing it a little different, not that different. All right, this is the side seam. Do we want any top stitching on the side seam? I feel like I do, but I don't know. Yeah, it helps so much. Once I just figured that out. And you know, when I first started doing that, oh, you ease this on, by the way, you ease the front on. When I first started doing that, I hid it. I didn't tell anybody. I literally thought I was cheating. You know, I just spent a lot of time with people that were more experienced or older or vocal. What is up with this bobbin tension though? That looks so bad. Look at all this thread right here. Let's get all this. When you have 3 strands of thread, it really piles up there, doesn't it? But that bobbin thread looks terrible. I have a lot here. Should be about 5/8 hanging off the edge there. Just thinking. Yeah, maybe, Donna. I was kind of thinking it would make it flatter. You know? Maybe you ease the front and back on. We're going to. All right, so let's see. I want to know where this ends up. This is the only thing. I'm not sure where how much of this tab do I want sticking off the edge there? So let's just see if there's a picture for that. Oh yeah, we need a line of ease stitching across the front. It just says front, so across the front. I want to know, I just want a picture of that because I cannot see this. Well, I guess I can just put whatever I want. Oh, welcome, Nat. Thanks, Rebecca, for being the welcoming committee. Appreciate it. So maybe if I go like, how much am I easing here? I'm easing like that much, so we'll ease about the same much there. So I'm just kind of looking at how much I'm easing between the center and the side seam here. You can see I have just a little bit of slack there. I'm looking for about the same amount of slack between the center and this side over here. Oops. Like that. And I'm pinning this inside waistband to the wrong side of the pant. Let's get rid of this and this. Wake up, Donna. Imagine if you guys could talk and chat. Have you guys ever been in a stream where voice to text is a thing? I've left streams because of it. I'm like, oh man, can you please turn that off? They just let their people abuse it. They'll like type 5,000, just the letter I, and then it says it out loud. The streamer can't even talk or do anything. It's really annoying. All right, so I'm gonna do a 3/8 inch seam here because I'm just a little worried about getting that 1 1/4 inch elastic there. And we're only gonna sew the inside waistband to the wrong side of the pant here. And you're gonna have to ease that front on a little bit. So if you're finding that difficult, I would add a row of easing stitches and just just barely pull them. You won't need to do a lot. You're normally asleep. It's Saturday night, Donna. I don't think of myself as a night owl, but I'm up till like midnight every night. I don't think that's that late. Like, I just know people that stay up so much later than that, and I can't. Like, that's my limit. Me and my friend got kind of a goofy game like a week ago. And all of a sudden I was like, oh my gosh, it's like 11:45. We were both shocked. We were just having fun, and it was just goofy. And it was a school night for both of us. We were like, okay, bye. It was kind of funny. I was so wide awake and alert. I could not tell. It was so funny. All right, here we are. I'm on the back side here. Here's my label. Straightening it out a little bit. You get up before, yeah, so you've already lived a day before I get up. I was up early today. I was up at 6 today, which is not the case usually. I usually wake up, but I don't get up. There's a big difference. But I got up, I took the dogs out, took them on a little loop, made coffee, stuff like that. All right, so this is the zipper end right there. And remember, I had left enough seam allowance above my zipper stop there for the full 5/8. So I won't be taking all that up, but that's okay. You know, it's gonna match over here. So now is a really good time, hint, hint, to check the length right here. Oh, nice. Is the latest edition good? I know Jen Stern's in there. She wrote an article. That's cool. All right, so is this supposed to tuck under there? No, that's not gonna work. That is not gonna work. That just plain does not work. What did I do wrong here? This, my friends, is why you should not do a lapped zipper. This is why you shouldn't do a lapped zipper. Well, shoot. I am just sometimes my own worst enemy. I have to think about this one. Okay. We have our waistband here. We have this guy here. And that just can't go under there. Well, dang it. I've almost figured this out. Okay, so what we could do, let me just take out this end right here. It was supposed to be keyhole. It's supposed to be a keyhole zipper, and I wanted a lapped zipper. I just didn't want the exposed zip look on the side. And I really like sewing lapped zippers. I did not think that about the fact that this makes it so, because if there wasn't, you know what, if there wasn't the fly facing, it would be fine, the fly shield. Because this is the problem, it's because the zipper goes between these two layers, right? So this has to go in between here. So if there was no fly shield, or, okay, so there's two things we can do. I actually think this is easier. We could finish the top edge of this fly facing and let it hang free. That's probably the easiest thing to do. I'm sewing in my head. I'm just going to take out this a little bit. Oh man, sewing drama. You just sometimes can't think of everything, right? Keyhole, centered, a centered zipper. And I just thought, oh, I don't really want my zipper to show. This is why sometimes you just gotta trust the pattern company. That's okay. All right, so here's our deal. What we could do is try and finish this. How much of this do I have to finish? Could I, if I finished it like this, let's just do an experiment, which wouldn't be great, but I'm just doing an experiment, right? If this could hang free, right, and then you continue. So what you have to do is you'd have to take this off. Okay, yeah, this is doable. We could do this. I think that this will give the nicest finish. So what we're going to do is I'm going to take off this under facing here. I'm going to pull it down just enough to where I can turn on the seam down there and clear the top edge here. So the only other thing I can do is if I were to stop this waistband short here and have to finish this edge here, which is trickier to make it look normal. This one, this will look normal from the outside. It means that my fly won't be secured at the top, my fly shield. So we're just going to take this out, which is kind of a bummer since it is going all the way through the top here. This isn't so disastrous. All right, we're just going to take out that much. All right, so now we're going to take off the zipper. Oh, I'm getting hungry. What time is it? 1 o'clock. Okay. Michael might eat dinner or lunch with me, but I know he has something at 3 o'clock. So, all right. So now we've got this piece free, right? It's all going to be fine. It's all going to be fine. Oh, but we overlocked it. Gosh darn it. We overlocked it together. Yeah, but if you follow the directions, you wouldn't have this kind of problem solving. So I'm just saying that before someone in the comment section says it. This is honestly one of the reasons I love pattern drafting and sewing, is the fact that there are only so many things, so many sewing steps out there. I gotta sneeze. Excuse me. So there's only a certain number of things, like types of sewing stitches and steps, right? But they interact with each other in an infinite number of ways. All right, so now we have this little edge here, and we're just going to turn it under along the top, like this. I'm going to go back to Thursday's stream and the timestamps and write something in there like, you should not do, no. Thank you. All right, so we're gonna make this nice, and let's see, is this definitely clearing the seam? Yes, it's definitely clearing the seam. We could probably even do a little bit less like this. Raise it up a tiny bit. This. Yeah, it's just like, I really do like sewing lap zippers, and I never get the chance, and I didn't want my zipper to be exposed. Because I also feel like then you always have to press those two sides, sorry, and if there's any strain on the zipper, I feel like it makes those little flaps over the zipper go like this, you know? So that's also what I was thinking about. All right, so we're just gonna stitch this. You could hand stitch this. All right. We're gonna be back on track in a jiffy. So now the tricky thing here is Saremy's aversion to back stitches. So we're just gonna pull out a few more stitches and leave this nice tail here, hopefully. Let's see if we can grab that. Boy. There we go. But I don't have much of a tail up here. So we're gonna have to go further down than we think we want to. So we'll do this, just a few. We just need a tail because I'm gonna hand knot it on the inside. I'm having trouble grabbing both threads. Okay, there we go. So now we're gonna pull this to the back, right? I just did an Instagram reel about this. Right after the stream the other day. Okay, so now we have that. Oh, we need this one. Pull, where is it? What's going on here? There we go. Now I got both. Okay. Having the extra strand of top stitching good. All right, so now we're gonna re-top stitch this all together. Baby steps, right? Baby steps. And we just need to tail at the end when we meet this. So we're gonna pull this away. Make sure these tails are out of the way. Making sure I'm going to catch the zipper. A little risky coming from the top down because I might get a little bubble, you know? I'm fighting it a little bit. Okay, leave a nice long tail. Pull them to the back. Like that. All right, and so now we have a mostly seamless, a little bit of a jog there. And then I'm going to knot this now, but I'll weave it in between the layers later on. If it bugs me, maybe I'll just leave it. Just in case it bugs me, I might straighten that up a little bit. But at this point, it kind of bugs me. It kind of bugs me. I'm going to take it out, sorry. I'm just going to do it one more time, and I'm going to start down there so that I can get a nice stitch. Okay, I don't need to be careful about this, so I could just pull this out. See, it all worked out. Well, we haven't done the waistband yet, but it will. It will all work out. Sorry, it's really hard to grab it against the linen without grabbing the linen. When you get this far, I just sometimes am like, I kind of kick myself when I'm like, it's fine. Because I do that a lot. But when you get this far, we don't have much left. You might as well not like tarnish what you've done unless you're just over it. And you're like, it's fine, trust me. Then it is. Okay, let's try that one more time. Okay. We'll start from the bottom this time. I have a nice long tail here. Let's get it all situated. And let's pull these threads to the back and get them out of the way. I'm just going to push them down. And then get everything under here. Now I'm going to arrange it. So just to be relaxed. And this time I won't get that little bubble either that I was a little worried about. I'm just going to tug on those threads a little tighter. It's a little easier to see if I'm lined up on the zipper now too. Oh, there's some threads to take out. Here we go. Okay, that looks better. I'm happy I did that. All right, now we'll pull these to the back. Let's hope we don't lose a stitch though, because there's a little bit of thread stuff going on back here. Thread drama. Oh, they're already at the back. Great. Okay. So now this waistband, when I zip it up, see it's loose under there. And this can go over it like that. Okay. So let's see, we just need to re-sew this right here at the top. And then we're on one of our last steps. Let's reattach this. Get this out of the way here. And again, we're gonna, ooh, will that work? I think that'll work. It folded back on itself right there. I'm not sure if that'll work. Let's see. When we pull this over like this, we tuck that in there and we pull that up like that. It might be hard to get it lined up, so I just don't want that little fold back right there. So I'm just going to undo that, but I won't have to re-sew anything. We'll just leave it. And then we're going to check the length. This is where we found our error, or my error. So now check the length of your zipper. Make sure that your waist seam here is going to line up right here when this is all sewn. So I look at it and go, okay, look at how much different those seams are right there. Like, that's really different, honestly. Is it really that far off? Didn't seem that far off before. So you see that big difference right there? Now, I really can't raise this one up much because I don't have much up here, but I can lower this one a little bit as long as I don't get into this fly shield, right? So we want this to be more along the lines of right here. We're going to undo the zipper so we can mark it right here. This is something you really don't want to skip doing, because what'll happen if you don't do that is your waistbands will be like a jog at the top along the top edge. So this right here, don't just take a bigger seam allowance either. I know this is kind of a pain, but take out your seam here and then yoink up the pants, but leave the waistband seam allowance correct. So what we're doing here is we're just going to pull up the seam allowance on the pant, not on the waistband, to get it to match up. This is not the project I thought I would be seam ripping so much on. I didn't go that off script either. This would have happened either way, this right here. Let's pull this out. You want to give yourself a nice lead up. Don't be skimpy. If you're sitting here already seam ripping a little bit and you have to fix this issue, just do a little bit more, because you'll get a smoother transition and it won't look like all of a sudden your pants go meow right there at the side seam, you know? So now look, we're gonna pull this waistband away, and let's get rid of some of these little threads here, like that, right? Okay, and so now I can see this dent in the fabric. That's where I want that seam to be. I don't know if you can see it, but it's right there. It lines up with that stitching almost, right? So now we're gonna place that on the seam we just sewed on this waistband here. So that's where I just sewed this seam, right? And so we pulled up the waistband to match it. This is really subtle stuff that this kind of took me a long time to figure out when I was learning to sew and why things wouldn't match up. I'd be like, well, I just need a bigger seam allowance. But if you do that, what'll happen is you'll make your waistband too narrow, and then you'll create a misalignment at the top. That's a good seam ripper, exactly. Well, one thing I did wrong, Eliza, was when I did a lapped zipper. Let me just finish sewing this and I'll tell you so I can show you what happened. This right here, I'm just fixing the lining up issue, okay. I just don't want to catch my waistband either, so, and I don't want to make these distorted, so I'm just trying to manage a lot of things under here. Okay. My target is like right here though, so I'm gonna pull this down a little bit more. There's so many threads. I'm just gonna take a gander at my, okay. I just wanna make sure I wasn't about to sew on my metal end. And get this folded back edge away. There we go. Okay, that's better. So now we have our seam lining up straight across from one another right there. There they are right there. Okay. All right, so what happened, Eliza, was that the thing I didn't think about by changing this to a lapped zipper was that my fly shield prevented this guy from going underneath here. It was creating like a pocket. So this needs to be free so this can kind of, you know, go behind the tab of the waistband. All right, home stretch. Now, we're just gonna look over our seam, make sure nothing else looks funny, and just hope we don't find anything, right? Here's my thread tail from reseaming that, and then what is this thread tail here? There it is. It's just from the linen. That's fine. All right, and now let's look at this right here. This is where we had a lot of drama. I'm just going to trim that. Probably secure my overlock thread a little bit later on. What is this? This is just a thread. That's just a thread. One of the many. All right, I feel pretty good now. But I want to get rid of some of these threads. Don't want to wonder what they are. Okay, now we're gonna pull our waistband to the front here like this, and we're also gonna put our elastic in, and we're just gonna turn this under and edge stitch it down. That could be a little smoother right there. Just smoothing this out. Right there, okay. All right, let's iron. Ironing gives me a chance to think. Look at, they're looking cute though. Can you see it? Yeah. All right, press this seam up into the waistband. Trim a few more threads. Between the linen and the top stitch, man, there's no shortage of them. And then we're gonna fold this down over the seam like that. And so if you're a beginner, I just highly recommend you getting in the habit of doing all your cuffs like this, your waistbands. Go from the wrong side to the right side. There's very few situations where that can't work. And it'll probably be something where there's a lot going on that garment. And I would just do it the way they say. If you're wondering, like, will this work? Bobbin is catching the inside waistband because it's the loose edge. And that's a little bit hard. It's really hard to do, especially if you're newer to sewing. And like I said, I used to hide that I did that to people because I thought maybe they would think it was some cheating thing to do. So much peer pressure in the sewing world. Okay, I'm going to close this in here, but what I'm going to do is attach my elastic to the side seam here and this end, fold this end down, and then same thing, I'm going to fold it over, but we're going to press it now. Maybe I won't have to come back over here then. I can just press this or pin it on the other camera. This is looking cute. I think if I like this silhouette, like it fits me really good, I might make a pair without the yokes even. You know? I like this kind of style. Elastic. All right. So let's see here. I'm going to tack the elastic at the side seam here. And I'm going to nestle it behind the seam allowance here. Like this. We need this to fall below the seam up here. So that's how I'm going to look at it, like this. So here's the seam, here's my elastic. I could do it on the other edge. It'd probably be a little easier to sew right now because I'm actually having a hard time getting close to this edge here. That's probably what they told you to do. One thing I've ever learned about elastic is secure it really well. All right, so we have that, like that, and then like that's gonna all clean it all up in there, right? Okay, so now let's go to the other side. Don't twist your elastic. All right, and we're gonna put this here. Let's see, I've never done this before. Oh, actually, let's, I had started undoing this seam here, so let's put this back when I wasn't sure how I was gonna solve that. Okay, not twisted, not twisted, not twisted. Fold this. I'm just triple, quadruple, quintuply checking I didn't twist it. All right, so I'm gonna hold this like this. I'm gonna line up this waistband edge, and I'm gonna fold it, leaving the same amount of seam allowance down here as right there, just so I'm consistent. And I'm gonna sew this, but I'm also gonna double check that my waistband height is gonna match up with that tab. So I'm just gonna sew right along the zipper here. Pull this thread here. Let's just check it before we double stitch the... Okay, that's looking pretty good. Okay. Thanks. I know, I'm pretty excited about these. All right. So now we can flip this waistband like that. And just a little quick tip. I'm getting hungry, so I'm running out of quick tips. But when I sew things like this, like cuffs or anything where both edges are eventually going to be folded up, don't fold this one up when you're doing this. Only keep the seam allowance you've already sewn folded up. And the reason is when we flip it like this, right? We have this one raw edge hanging down. That's great. And that's because now we can kind of wrap this edge here around the other seam allowance. And if you had folded it up like this back on itself, what happens is you might end up getting a really, well, I can't show you now, but you end up running the risk of this happening where your seam allowance is hard to cover up right here, right? So if we leave this kind of loose, we can wrap it around this seam allowance. So many threads in this project. And then I can fold this and I have no worry that that's going to happen, right? Because it's clean already right there. And I show this technique in the how to sew a cuff. So if you're doing any kind of waistbands, this I kind of go into it, I think, on that. It's been a while since I recorded that, but I don't have much seam allowance here. All right, so now we just need to pin this and top stitch it down. But we get to top stitch it from the right side, not from, we would top stitch it from the right side if we followed the directions, but we would have a loose edge on the inside that we'd be really hoping we caught. All right, so I'm gonna look for my center. Here's my center back seam. I didn't get my waistband quite right, so I'm just folding it to match up with those notches. And I want my elastic to hopefully nestle behind the seam allowance, hopefully. I want my label to go down. So I'm just gonna put a few pins in a few key areas. All right, the elastic will probably sneak above your seam allowance. It'll feel a little like it's twisting. I almost showed a way to how to do this where we would have not had to deal with the elastic like this. I was thinking what I could do was serge it on and turn, but I knew there was something I wasn't thinking about, and it's this, you need a finished waistband edge right here, so you really can't do that without some pattern gymnastics that it wasn't set up for. I'm hungry. You guys are troopers. Some of you probably went to bed. It's like kind of still my morning, but not. It's like 1:30. But my poor husband's probably like, is she done yet? I'm hungry. If he's watching, you can just eat. I'll figure something out. All right. Okay. Oh, I kind of pinned through some of the elastic here. Maybe I'll not do that so it can. Maybe I'll pin along the seam, which I rarely do anymore. Just so the elastic can move like that. I'm kind of roughly pinning it right now. I'll go back and do it a little better. Just trying to get all my landmarks. And so see how I said the elastic would push it? I knew it would do that. It's going to push that side seam forward. There's a lot of bulk right here, unfortunately. It would be so much nicer if our elastic would go that way because there's only one layer of fabric back here. But here we have the waistbands, the seams. We have a lot going on. We only need to stitch it right here at the bottom though, so it'll be fine. But a little thick. If you have a really, really thick seam though, one thing you can do, I'm kind of scared to do it on this because I don't have much seam allowance, but what you could do, let's do it on this one right here. We're gonna just clip this right here at the fold, okay? Like that. Clip it. I would probably reinforce that seam too, and now flip this seam allowance this way. I do this on hems, and now when you fold it here, you've offset that thickness, and so part of it's going towards the back right there. So if you ever have trouble with those kinds of thicknesses, nice, Libby. Enjoy. I'm probably doing the exact same thing for lunch. There's a really good one up here, thankfully. Oh no, he wanted to go to the other one. Okay, so now we got this. I'm kind of looking at my, kind of trying to find that middle point right there. So I'm walking my hands, get that there. We'll deal with that thread in a second. As long as I'm not feeling any torquing, it looks good so far. I'm gonna pin my label down so I don't, because this frequently happens where it'll flip up into the seam. All right, this little guy here. We're almost ready to sew. We're gonna check our point out first though. And this right here, this thickness, I'm just gonna have to use my awl. All right, so the point down here, here's our free form fly shield. Free form? Free floating? Free wheeling? I don't like that white thread right there. What is that? That is an awfully big, like, one stitch. What is that from? Is that just the... Can I undo that? Where does that go to? Is it just the end of that? Dang. Can I hide it? This is probably going to be the fussiest part, is trying to get this. Some ways making this just squared off would probably be a little easier to deal with. My point's going to be asymmetrical because I used a different seam allowance at the bottom. It's jaunty. It's like an arrow. All right, let's sew. All right, turn the pants. What is this, inside out? Yeah, inside out. It'll be easier if you don't have a free arm. I don't. And I think I'm gonna start on the side seam here. And I'm gonna go all the way around. I think I'm gonna try, I really like top stitching along the top edge of the elastic. We'll see, we'll see. We're gonna do this whole front waistband right now. So I'm gonna start at this really thick waistband. Is that really what I wanna do? Maybe I want to start back here. I could just start at the center back. Let's just start at the center back like we always do. We always start at the center back, right? Okay, so let's pull this. Get this nice and situated, and don't catch your elastic. And now, when you're sewing something like this that has to stretch, I always say this, stretch, hold, sew. Do not sew, stretch, because you'll break your needle. It's really dangerous, really bad for your machine. So just stop, needle down. I'm holding this so the elastic's nice and stretched. I'm kind of tucking this edge under. And the one thing you might have to worry about here is that if you don't have like one side of your presser foot on the elastic while you're sewing, it might bully your presser foot and make it fall off of the elastic. And then you get that kind of like falling off, wiggly kind of line. So try and keep one side of your presser foot on the elastic, and that'll help. And I'm going to pull from both, pull from both ends. Hold the elastic, put the presser foot down, and sew, and do it again. Now, I may be falling on the waistband on the inside. I may not be, but I don't really have to worry about it anymore because we're on the right side. Okay, here we are approaching that really thick area, and it is thick, man. It is thick. Partly it's because the elastic's in there, and we're not sewing over the elastic, so we don't have to worry about it. But it feels like we are. Our needle doesn't have to go through it, though. Not bad. Okay, there's no more elastic, so I'm pulling. I don't need to. Don't pull. Just make this nice. Now I'm just going to kind of make sure I don't get any torquing, so that's why sometimes you'll see me pulling like this along this top edge. So I kind of straighten it out, and you'll see me go over here with my hand, and that's me trying to combat any torque that I might get. And torque is when you get those diagonal lines. I feel like I'm definitely off my band on the inside, but it's sewing so nicely, I'm not really that worried about it. Oh yeah, I am. But it feels really good. Like it's feeling really easy to sew. That feels good. All right, we're getting towards the end here where the point is. Look at that pattern matching. Holy heck. We planned that with our 5 millimeters of fabric that we had. All right. Don't think I'm worried about the zipper. Nope, the metal is outside of the waistband. Okay, this is one of those moments where I could get that knot of thread underneath. I'm going to get rid of all these pins so I can pivot, and then I'll explain why. But when there's just not enough fabric under the presser foot sometimes, I'm clearing the decks here. I'm going to put my pin cup here. So when I have this, like, there's like no fabric back here, that is like when we thanks, Liza. When you hear people talking about hump jumpers and things like that, the problem is, like, do you see how I don't know if you can. Let's see. Look at my presser foot right now. See how it's doing a wheelie? It's more extreme in person, so the front is up and the back is down. And so what happens is the feed dogs are looking for the fabric to pull so that your work can move through the machine. But all you have none. I really want this camera. I'm going to pull this camera off for a second. Just so it might unplug it, though. Look at that. This is what's happening on your machine. So all I'm doing is turning this little point, this corner of this waistband right here, right? So the waistband, that's it. We're not even on a thick hump. But what happens is all of the traction of your presser foot is only grabbing itself. It's not grabbing the fabric. And so what you have to do is help it feed and kind of get it onto the fabric. And that's what's happening sometimes when you get that ball of thread. We did it without losing the camera. Which way is it? This way? Yeah. So now when I turn, you know, I can't even push this down, right? So I've got to make sure, and I usually use my awl, where I'm going to push my work. I'm going to push it that way a little bit. If you're good at using a hump jumper, you can try doing that too. So now it's fine. But it's just kind of a bummer. You're like, this isn't even hard to sew. It's not even that thick. Why won't it grab it? And it's just because the pressure between your presser foot and the feed dogs is on itself and not the fabric. All right, so now we're just gonna go along the top here. Whoops, a little too close there. I have no room over here. It's a lot of pant in the throat space of your machine sometimes. This is our rest interval, you know. We're doing our exercise, we're doing our crunches, you know. And this is the rest spot. All right, now we're getting to more crunches. So now we're at the side seam, and here's the elastic. And so I'm gonna try and push the elastic over. I like top stitching along the top here, but it is a little dicey. You do not want to catch the elastic. And I hope I can. I hope I can. Let's see. I'm not sure what they tell you to do in the instructions here. I don't think you go all the way around. I think you only do the bottom edge. So this might not be doable. So when I usually do this, I usually edge stitch the top of a casing before I put the elastic in, and in this case you can't do that. I'm not grabbing the elastic, so I'm just going to trust. I'm on the barest of edges. I really have just like, I'm just trusting it because I can see there's no elastic in there. Pulling my fabric under the needle. It's kind of like when you do a curtain and you put that rod pocket in. There's just something about edge stitching the rod pocket. It makes the top edge look more finished, if you know what I mean. But, you know, it does take up some of the fabric in there, so even in a rod pocket, sometimes it just doesn't matter how little you're taking up. You're still taking up both sides. So you could end up losing just enough to where it won't work. Oh, I fell off the waistband. So we'll just pull the threads up taut and try and get back on track. Oh, we're almost halfway. See, it looks nice, you know. Okay, we're almost to the end here too, so we can flip it. I feel like all the stretch is at the other end. This end will probably be easier though, because it's not stitched down. Ah, I fell off again. I don't recommend this. Definitely being stubborn about this. I probably could have put this in Night Mullen maybe before I put my elastic in. I'm kind of having regrets about this. But I'm sometimes really stubborn. Okay, that's just too much for me. Okay, we're gonna take that out. And maybe I just don't use it. Let's take this out right here. I don't like starting and stopping at the ends of the waistband either. That's why I start in the middle. I don't like that back stitch there. So I'd kind of skip this and maybe do this at a later time, but we'd have to start there. Well, we could, I don't know. We're so close. We can do it. Maybe I can start from here and go around to there. Let's do it. Okay, let's slide the elastic in there too. It's having trouble. Ooh, maybe I caught it right there. Oh no, it's moving. It's moving, but it's a little stubborn. There we go. The pins are going the wrong way now. Making sure I don't catch the elastic in again. See you, Eliza. We didn't see Terry today. I bet she got stuck in the garden. I have a little notch in the waistband right here, so I'm trying to turn under enough to hide the notch. Here we go. We're at the waistband now. We're going to turn the corner. And now the last little bit of my edge here. Let's see if we can do it. It's a little easier for me to come at it this direction because of I'm right-handed. So I can make sure that there's no elastic in there. So I'm stretching it and I'm pulling the little edge here, kind of creating some slack. As long as you keep it actually on the fold line, even if you're kind of artificially creating slack, it'll be fine. This is a lot easier to do now that I'm using my right hand. Who would have known it was a right hand, left hand thing? All right. The View A has belt loops. Well, it doesn't have an elastic back either. All this needs is a snap and hems. Let's check it out. These are cute. Let's see our waistband worked. There we go. And here's our waistband. Slide our elastic along it. Here's the inside. So sometimes we landed on the waistband, sometimes we didn't. But it's secured, so we don't have to worry about it. And I do a better job on things like that when I'm not filming, but not all the time. I still just do it like that, and I'm not bothered by some of it being on the waistband in there and some of it not. If I'm sewing for someone else, I'll probably make sure, but it doesn't make it structurally different. So there's my tab there. I think I'm going to use a snap since I have some heavy duty snaps. Here's the front. It's cute, huh? Here's the back. Little tab right there. We'll have a snap. They're very cute. I think so too. I think they're really cute. I might just make you guys wait for Instagram for my photo though, because I'm hungry and I want to hem them first. And I'm gonna put the snap on there. Yeah, very cute. I'm happy. Those are really cute. Let's just pin them on my dress form. They won't be like I'm wearing them, but it'll kind of look like it. I don't know why they're so dark. That's cute. Let's make them a little more level. Hi, Corey. I haven't seen you in a bit. That's awesome. I'm sorry you broke a needle, though. The illusion. It's definitely an illusion. I think you could have fun with stripes, like vertical stripes and horizontal stripes or vice versa, right? Or you know how sometimes there's fabrics where they give you the same print twice? You know, like when it's, there's like a large version and a small version of the exact same print. Or reversible fabrics, you could have a lot of fun with that too. Yeah. I can't wait to try them on. They just look so like comfy, casual. We never really named the coastal grandma thing we were going for in Pattern Chatter, but I feel like this is starting my era, right? Not coastal grandma, but the other thing we were talking about. I don't love coastal anymore, so. Well, thanks. What a journey. Thanks so much to Hearts Fabric. I have their thing on the screen there for giving me the fabric. They were the ones that were like, absolutely will sponsor you to make this, and they don't even have the pattern. So I really like that. That's very nice of them. And then So Liberated heard that, and they gave me the pattern. So I thought that was kind of a nice collaboration. Inadvertent collaboration, unintentional, friendly. So that was nice of them to be like, that's great. Hearts is giving you the fabric to make those. We're going to give you the pattern. That was really nice of them. So cool. And these will be at Hearts Fabric soon. I'll probably drive them down. That and the cropped jacket. I wish I had the top. I have one more thing to sew for them, and honestly the three things kind of go together. So the cropped jacket would be cute with these. Not the fabric. Well, I don't know. Could I wear this, do you think? Let's see. I have it right here. Let's see. I don't know. This might be a little too much. I don't know. I think it could maybe in different colors, right? But it's the right height. So have a great weekend, you guys. Next week is my off streaming week, so I'm in the guild doing a bunch of stuff. Have a great weekend. In May, I'm going to be sewing the two things, the Decades of Style butterfly blouse, I'm pretty sure, or a modified version of it. And I'm going to be making the Winslow culottes by Helen's Closet. So Decades of Style butterfly blouse, which is a really cool blouse. It was just on my dress form. I just ripped it off, so I have one here. And then the Winslow culottes. And I'm going to make the long version, but after the wedding, I'm going to probably shorten them. So, yeah, that's May. Then June, and I'm not sure what we're doing in June. July is menswear sewing month. Start thinking of your menswear patterns you want me to sew. So, and letting me know. So, yeah, very fun today. Have a great weekend, you guys. I'll talk to you soon. See you in May. May is the best month of the year. Bye.